Authorities preparing to tackle sargassum problem. TRHA board recommendations get cabinet approval, and organizers pleased with Tobago Jazz experience.
Info
Update.
bringing you the latest
News, views, and reviews.
along with responses
Comments and events
affecting you.
brought to you by the Information Division of the Tobago House of Assembly.
The sargassum seaweed is back, and authorities are working to minimize its impact on Tobago's beaches. Omadara Mills has the details.
Last August, some of Tobago's communities were faced with a difficult challenge when sargassum seaweed appeared in droves on their beaches. The seaweed now seems to be drifting in once again, and Chief Secretary Orville London says the THA is taking a proactive approach to the situation.
Because of our experiences last year, we have decided that we're going to treat the issue a little bit more professionally this year. And I spoke to the director of TEMA, and he has given me the assurance that they have already come up with a sargassum response plan.
Mr. London says several agencies, including the Agriculture and Infrastructure divisions, are involved in tackling the seaweed problem. He says the situation is not at the crisis stage.
Basically, at this point in time, the situation has not reached any crisis proportion, and therefore the response is a level 1 response, a manual response, because bearing in mind that while you deal with removal of the sargassum, you have to understand that if you move to the mechanical response, there is going to be some environmental fallout.
Mr. London says CPEP and the URP will also assist in removing the seaweed to ensure it does not get out of hand. I'm Omadara Mills for Info Update.
Within weeks, the Tobago Regional Health Authority should have a new board. Kern de Freitas has the details.
The previous TRHA board's term came to an end in March. Chief Secretary Orville London says the new TRHA board has been approved by Cabinet. He says the next phase is for President Anthony Carmona to give final approval.
The TRHA board is appointed by the President so that we have a process that starts with the Secretary of Health and Social Services making a recommendation to the Executive Council.
Following the Executive Council's approval, Cabinet deliberates on the matter.
And on the passing of that Cabinet note, the relevant minister would transmit it, or the Cabinet will transmit it to the President, and the President would make the appointments.
Mr. London is optimistic Tobago will have a new TRHA board in the coming weeks. I'm Kern de Freitas for Info Update.
The Tobago Jazz experience has been a positive one so far, despite a few hiccups. Caroline Wallace brings us this report.
The Tobago Jazz Experience 2016 got off to a good start on April 16th. Chief Secretary Orville London says Secretary of Tourism and Transportation Tracy Davidson Celestin has reported that apart from a few minor challenges, organizers are pleased with this year's event so far.
Although there were some hiccups there were some significant successes, and I think it's the kind of activity that to me will brand the Tobago Jazz in a particular way, where we can spread it across many communities and many hotels and many bars, etc., where people can get different experiences.
Mr. London admitted that Jazz on the Move had some teething problems, which he says can happen with any new venture. On the tourism front, the news is promising.
I understand that the hotel occupancy is at a satisfactory level, and we expecting that it will move up. And of course, we are optimistic that between Caribbean Airlines and the ferries, that they're going to be able to bring the majority of people who want to come to the Tobago.
The Chief Secretary is still concerned about the air bridge's ability to accommodate all travelers, but says he hopes everything will run smoothly. I'm Caroline Wallace for Info Update.
That's it from all of us at the Department of Information. I'm Josiah Brasty, and you've been listening to Info Update.